Hi, this is Cadence Johnston. I'm going to be critically analyzing my best friend's Instagram profile. So, the first thing I would like to start off with is being a content creator or being a part of social media. I think you have to be authentic and real with posting on social media. And so, the first thing I would see when looking at her Instagram is if this is really her. And by doing so, I think that you can see that by her engagement with Instagram and how she posts and engages herself. So I would be able to tell that this is a real account from her. For one, because she posts things she's interested in, and for two, it looks like a real account because of the engagement. Secondly, I would go off of a really important part of posting on Instagram is how aesthetically pleasing you are making yourself to be thought out to be. And I personally see that her Instagram is very aesthetic. She decides to take the route of just posting more non-correlation color palettes, which I think is interesting. And in comparison to my Instagram, you can see that I try to stay on color route. I see that she posts a lot that represents who she is, and I think being authentic is a very important part of Instagram. By doing so, you can see that she posts a bunch of volleyball highlights of her favorite team, which is a really important part in her life, so it represents who she is as a person. She has some photos of herself and her friends she enjoys doing in a highlight. And then lastly, her church group, which I think is really cute. I would like to look at how she uses like color palettes to perceive herself on social media. I see that she likes to use a backdrop of a lot of blue skies and a lot of blue. And knowing her, I know that her favorite color is blue, and it might be intentional and not correlate at all, but I think that it's a really important part of showing people and representing yourself on social media. First post is me and swimming because she's a swimmer, and I think it's really important to show what you like to do and show your hobbies on social media so people can get a bit of a sense to know who you are. Here's a photo from her 16th birthday so people can know how old she is. She decides to not share a lot of information, but from a glimpse of her Instagram, you can tell who she is as a person, and I think that's a really important part. She posts things that she's interested in and her political opinions too, in a subtle way where it represents what she thinks of social media and is not ashamed of who she is or made out to be fake on social media. She also, I know you can't control necessarily your tagged, but I think it's a really important part of her Instagram because she also does run the Beaverton High volleyball. And she posts a lot of volleyball, which is important to her and one of the biggest aspects in her life, which I think is pretty cool. When critically analyzing her thing, I do believe that she could improve her color palette on her Instagram. For one, I think that there's a lot of mix-up, and because it, I would say ombres, it goes from blue to a bunch of different random colors. I think that's not necessarily pleasing to the eye, in my opinion, but I do think it's really interesting how she kind of vibrates this summer winter energy down the bottom, and then it kind of comes into a different autumn spring vibe over here, which I think is really cool. I think that from looking at her Instagram, I would perceive her as a bubbly, joyful person, and that's who she is as a person. So overall, I think her Instagram is very nice and represents who she is, and I believe that can be the biggest part of Instagram and social media. So that concludes my critical analysis of her Instagram.